In this video, I just want to talk a little bit in general terms about some of the ways in which the activities of the digestive system are regulated. The two major control systems of the body both play a role in regulating digestion. You have the nervous system and you have the endocrine system, hormonal regulation. Both of these systems can be triggered by mechanical and chemical stimuli. So you have mechanical and chemical regulation as well. Both mechanical and chemical stimuli can either activate or inhibit accessory glands, so they can act on the pancreas, they can act on the gallbladder. They can also act on the smooth muscle around the GI tract in order to stimulate digestive motility, in order to move food along the digestive tract, or just to mix food. Mechanoreceptors respond to stretching of organs in the GI tract. So when you have food entering into an organ like the stomach or the small intestine, that food mass stretches the wall of the organ, and mechanoreceptors in the wall of the organ respond to that stretching. Chemoreceptors respond to a variety of changes in the chemistry of the gastrointestinal tract. They can respond to changes in solute concentration, so changes in osmolarity. They can respond to changes in pH, like when the stomach, which is normally acid, when you have food entering into the stomach, that changes the pH. They can respond to the presence of substrates, so there are chemoreceptors that can detect the presence of nutrients in the digestive tract, and they can also respond to the end products of digestion. So they can detect both nutrients before digestion and the molecules that are made by digestion, after digestion. From these stimuli, you can have either short reflex arcs or long reflex arcs. So short reflex arcs are mediated entirely by the enteric nervous system. So the entire reflex arc is located within the wall of your gastrointestinal tract. So you have stimulus detected in the GI tract, integration of that signal, and a response never passes to the central nervous system, entirely within the GI tract. The long controls, or the extrinsic controls, are those that do involve the central nervous system and the autonomic nerves controlling digestion. Hormonal regulation, you have at least 18 hormones produced by the digestive tract, and they're produced by these cells called enteroendocrine cells. So while there are no formal endocrine glands, no distinct endocrine glands in the digestive tract, there are individual cells located in the epithelium that can produce hormones that regulate digestive activity. And so I want to go back to this idea of the enteric nervous system for a moment. You have a lot of neurons in your gut. There are more neurons in your digestive tract than in your entire spinal cord. You have two nerve plexuses located in your digestive tract. Remember, a nerve plexus is just a network of neurons that communicate with each other. So you have the submucosal plexus, which consists of sensory and motor neurons, and these are located in the submucosa. So that second layer, you remember from the lumen outward, you have the mucosa, and then you have the submucosa, the connective tissue underneath the mucosa. You have nerve plexuses located in there, sensory and motor neurons that regulate the glands and smooth muscle in the mucosa. So they regulate the muscularis mucosae. And that's what you're seeing here in the submucosal plexus. Your second nerve plexus is the myenteric plexus. The myenteric nerve plexus is located in the muscularis externa, and it's actually sitting in between the longitudinal and the circular muscle layers of the muscularis externa. So it sits in between those two layers. And that's what you're seeing here. The myenteric neurons control GI tract motility, so they control what the muscularis externa is doing, segmentation and peristalsis. If you actually want to see what that looks like histologically, this is an image of the myenteric plexus neurons. You're looking at circular smooth muscle. You're seeing the smooth muscle fibers in longitudinal. And then the longitudinal smooth muscle, which you're looking at in cross-section, end on. And these are neuron cell bodies sitting in between those two layers. Now, both the submucosal nerve plexus and the myenteric nerve plexus are influenced by the autonomic nervous system. So remember, parasympathetic stimulation tends to increase activity of the digestive tract. So remember, parasympathetic is resting and digesting, sympathetic is fight or flight. Parasympathetic stimulation tends to increase both secretion from digestive glands and motility. Sympathetic stimulation has the opposite effect, so that tends to decrease both secretion and motility. This is just another way of looking at the different ways in which GI tract activity is regulated. Over here, you have a discussion of local factors. So this includes physical distortion of the wall of the digestive tract. So that is detected by those mechanoreceptors I talked about. This also includes responses to changes in the pH or the presence of nutrients or changes in osmolarity in the GI tract. Neural control mechanisms. You're looking at both short reflexes that occur entirely within the wall of the enteric tract, entirely controlled by the enteric nervous system, and long reflexes that involve the central nervous system. Hormonal control mechanisms here, this is just kind of walking through the hormonal mechanisms. You have local factors stimulating enteroendocrine cells, releasing hormones. They pass through the bloodstream to act on more far-flung regions of the digestive tract. Okay, so a few things that you should get out of this video. You should be able to talk about the enteric nervous system, discuss the two different nerve plexuses, where they're located, the types of activities they control. Talk about both mechanical and chemical regulation of digestion. Explain the difference between the short reflexes, also known as the intrinsic reflexes, and the long reflexes, also known as the extrinsic reflexes. You should also be able to address the enteroendocrine cells, describe what they are.